So today I want to use the passing of Kevin Samuels as how do I say this? As proof. The way people are reacting, the hatred, the vitriol that he receives from women, but especially from preachers. How if a man has found one small grain of truth, and that's all he found, most of what he said was irrelevant. For instance, the high value man thing. The high value man in the world's eyes is one who makes a lot of money, looks good and dresses good and all that. That's not a high value man in the mind of Jehovah. Okay? That's not what makes a high value man. Many of the things that he says were incorrect or were worldly. But he did say one thing that was right. And this one thing, in my opinion, is what makes these women hate him so much. It concerns the patriarchy, the role of the man and the role of the woman. In one of his videos, he was talking to a woman where he had to explain to the woman that she is not number one, she's number two. And she did not understand that. It made no sense to her. She believed that men and women were equals. He says no. And that is where he's correct. Men and women are not equal. This makes women very angry. The way that this government operates, it is, how do I say this, that truth is diametrically against the way Western governments work today. So he made the argument that to this woman, if a burglar was breaking into the house, who goes to deal with it first? The man does. The woman is supposed to stay behind him. Why? Because it is her job to protect the children. This is exactly what he said. And when he explained it that way, the woman, she goes, oh. Nobody explained that to her before. The role of the woman. And so, for that reason, and that reason only, the world hated Kevin Samuels. People metaphorically peeing on his grave. Preachers, right up there on the top. When I say preachers, I mean preachers who have a preacher's license by the government. So we're going to get into a couple of examples here. This Jamal Bryant. This is Kevin Samuels from the pulpit on Mother's Day. Now, bear in mind that Jamal Bryant, apparently, according to sources, has 5 baby mamas.
Can weigh in on that. You are listening to men who have no authority. How can a man say that you are of low value after 35? How can a man say that you do not have the level of traction of a high-powered man when that man has got to get a GoFundMe for his funeral? Y'all ain't saying nothing to me.
That was a lie. He did not have to get a GoFundMe for his funeral. That was a lie in a couple of ways. Because if he's dead, he's not getting a GoFundMe page. Okay? So if somebody set up a GoFundMe page after he's dead, that's not on him.
You got to be in that place where you operate in the authority of God.
All right. He says you got to be in a place where you operate, as he says, in the authority of God. All right. I should have done the other one first. But there's another so-called pastor, Creflo Dollar. He was the one who he said all kinds of crazy things trying to get money, and yeah, exactly. Creflo Dollar's business is designed to produce tithes. Kevin Samuel's business is designed to produce wives. Tithes. Yes, I did many videos in the past about tithes and how money cannot be tithed on because money cannot reproduce itself. It's very specific instructions. In Exodus, I believe it was Exodus concerning tithing, that things that reproduce itself can be tithed on. And the tithe was supposed to go to the Levites, which these preachers are not Levites. In fact, if they call themselves Levites in the spiritual sense, as they would say, then they are rejecting the Messiah, who is after the order of Melchizedek and not after the order of the Aaronic Levitical priesthood. Pastor Creflo Dollar recently called out social media influencer Kevin Samuels during a church service. He referred to Kevin Samuels' teaching as babble and false knowledge. He stated Kevin Samuels just insults women because women are so desperate for the truth that they are looking at this so-called... They are not desperate for the truth, folks. Women do not want the truth. I'm going to give you the truth about the role of women today, and I'm telling you, there is no modern woman, zero! You would say, Henry, how could you make such a broad statement? Listen to my statement very carefully. There is no modern woman who desires, no modern woman who desires to know what her place is. And I'm going to tell you what her place is, and zero modern women agree with this. Zero. Now you can go, somebody goes and says, isn't Dollar the cat that has ATM machines located right in the vestibule of his church? And didn't Yehoshua saying that he's not going to allow money changers in his temple? I added that, of course. Now, why do these 503c government license so-called pastors rail against this man? It is, in all truth, it is because in the relationship between a man and a woman, man is number one, the woman is number two, and the children are number three. Now, in the world's Western civilizations, this relationship being marriage, the Western civilization's version of marriage is government is number one, the woman is number two, and the man is number three. Oh, the children are number three, and the man is number four. He's dead last. That is the world's Western civilization's version of what a marriage is, which is why a man cannot get married in Western civilization today without signing a marriage license is essentially turning yourself over to Satan. Because Satan is the ruler of this world. All the governments are his. And when you sign such an agreement making the government the arbiter of your marriage, then you have signed your soul over to Satan. All right, let's go to 1 Corinthians 11. And I've told you many times that Paul did not use the word Christos, he used the word Moshiach. Now I praise you, brethren, that you remembered me in all things and keep ordinances as I delivered them to you. But I would have you know that the head of every man is the Moshiach, not a woman. And the head of the woman is the man. In every case, I'll explain. And the head of Moshiach is not God, it is Jehovah the Father. Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonors his head. This is the reason why I have short hair on my head. But every woman who prays or prophesies with her head uncovered dishonors her head. Who is her head? The man, her husband, or her daddy. So if she prays or prophesies with her head uncovered, dishonors her head. For even all one that she were shaven, this might as well be shaven. For if the woman is not covered, let her be shaved. But if it is a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, then let her be covered. This is not talking about a veil. This is talking about her hair. Her hair is a covering. For a man indeed ought not cover his head. Why? Because he was made in the image of Jehovah, in the image. Like in the literal sense, and the glory of Jehovah. But the woman is the glory of the man. She was not made in his image, the man was made in his image. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman is from out of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. But see, now, you see what's happened here? That little stupid song, I don't even know the words to it except for You Belong to Me. You know what song that is. I don't listen to that trash. But you hear it over the radio in Walmart and places. And it is something that makes me want to vomit when I hear it. Because in my younger days, I was 18, 19 years old, I remember. And this 16-year-old girl, I'm not going to mention her name, was telling all the other girls, leave Henry alone. He belongs to me. And of course, one of the other girls came to me and told me about that, and I told her, I don't belong to her. I don't belong to any woman. And then I said this, no woman will ever own me. Ever. For a man to allow a woman to have ownership over him, he is dishonoring the Father. And he's dishonoring the Messiah, the Moshiach. And I had to explain, show this in the scripture to my wife, who had a degree in theology. She never saw this before. She had a degree in theology and she never saw this before. Neither is the man, neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman was created for the man. And what do you hear from women today? Married women to married men. I want this, I want that. I want this, I want that. A man who allows that is owned by the woman. The woman is actually owned by the man. Yes, I said owned, ownership. She needs to be saying to him, what can I do for you today? Instead of telling him, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. That is, see, this is the marital relationship of every marriage that I know of in the country, in Western civilization. The woman dictates to the man what she wants. Go do the dishes. I've been doing the dishes all week. You do the dishes today. I do all the cleanup work around the house. Why don't you do some cleanup work today? Why don't you feed the baby? Why don't you go and clean the diaper, change the baby's diaper? That's not her place to say that. She works for him, not the other way around. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman was created for the man. Have you not heard of what a help suitable to the man? Let's go look at it real quick. So it would be Genesis 8, Genesis 2, verse 8. Why is it? Two verse 18, I mean, 2 and 20. Not Lord God. Jehovah Elohim said, it is not good that a man should be alone. I will make a helper. A helper. He will have a helper. Now, As I was growing up, teenage boy, my dad and my uncle had a business together, and they had carpenters and carpenters' helpers. That's the way it was back then. Now, there were a couple of guys, Richard and Dave. I remember them very well. They were the carpenters, and me and my brother, my older brother, we were the helpers. Carpenters' helpers. We did not tell Dave and, what did I say? Dave and Richard, is that right? What to do. We did not tell them what to do. They told us what to do. We assisted them. That is the way it worked. Same way with the relationship between a man and his wife. From the foundation of the world, it was so ordained. Let's continue. For this cause ought a woman to have authority, well, it says authority on her head because of the messengers. Nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither is the woman without the man in Jehovah. For as the woman is of the man, even so is the man also by the woman. But all things came from Jehovah. So, since he, Jehovah, ordained this, it cannot be changed. But the government of Satan had other plans. If you bothered to read in the Garden of Eden, who did Satan, or who did the serpent, communicate with first? The woman. He made her the boss over her husband. Yes, he did. We'll continue. So he keeps going with, does even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him? Judge as yourselves, is it right that a woman pray to Elohim uncovered? No. But if a woman has long hair, this is not talking about a veil here. If a woman has long hair, it is a glory to her, for her hair is given unto her as a covering. Not as something to be tied up in a bonnet and hid away. That's not a covering. Her hair is her covering. So a woman must have long hair, or she dishonors her head. A man who is contentious, is fond of strife, have no such habit, not custom. We're not going to deal with people who want to be contentious. Well, wow. The contentiousness over, and folks, you got to understand, the one thing, the reason why the world was against Kevin Samuels is because he got one thing right. That in the relationship between a man and a woman, the man is one, the woman is two, the children are third. That's where he got it right. And that is the reason. People can say this, they can say that, and they can say the other thing. He said some foolish things here, some foolish... No. That one thing, that is the reason why the whole world is against him. and spitting on his grave as we speak. And I've talked about how as soon as a person or a group of people find a grain of truth and they get popular, that the world will proceed to destroy that person or that group. And in the past, in the 1500s, that's exactly what happened to the Anabaptists. Because the Anabaptists, they found one little grain of truth, and they were getting close to finding more. And the Catholics, the Unitarians, the Protestants, all joined together in a murderous rampage against them, against every one of them who said, oh, the seventh day is the Sabbath, the Shabbat. And baptism must be by, not be by children, but must be close to adulthood, and it must be full immersion. And because of those three things, they got nothing else correct, essentially. Well, they might have got, they probably did have the man and the woman and the children correct. But I think you understand my point. As soon as they found some truth, and it was against what the rest of the world believed, the rest of the world proceeded to destroy them until they were either dead in Israel today, some of them are in Israel today, or keeping Sunday as the fake Shabbat. Now, so now what I want to do is go to 1 Timothy. 1 Timothy 2. Instruction to women. In like manner, women arrange themselves in modest or orderly apparel. All right? Orderly, virtuous, decent, modest, well ordered. Not in barely clothed, on OnlyFans, TikTok, 20 layers of makeup, which who knows what's in it. Probably parts of fetuses. Modest apparel with shamefacedness and sobriety, soundness of mind and self-control. Not with braided hair. Not even with braided hair. Or gold, pearls, and costly jewelry. None of that. You see, the part where Kevin Samuels was wrong was there was many. Somehow that a high value man is somebody who makes a lot of money and who dresses well and who's good looking and all of that. No, a high value man is a man who puts Jehovah, not God, but Jehovah first. Puts the new covenant, which is for Israel, puts that first. And a man who does this is not going to receive positive attention from this world. He's not going to be loaded with money, with fancy cars, and a house in the gated communities. Not going to happen. That's what a real high value man is. But which is suitable for women proclaiming fear of Jehovah, not fear of God, but fear of Jehovah, with good works, her righteous works. That is her jewelry. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. That's exactly what it means. Subjection, submission, and obedience. Shut your mouth. Now, he did tell a lot of women that they needed to shut their mouth. And in that respect, he was right. Let the woman learn in silence. You women, it has been studied and proven that you women speak 7 times more words than men do. That is wrong. It is not because you are programmed that way. It is not because Jehovah made you that way. It is because you need to learn to shut your mouth. And know your role. And I'm not borrowing off of some wrestler. It's just the way it is. Learn in silence with all subjection. I do not permit a woman to teach or usurp authority over a man, but to be in silence. Shut your mouth. Because Adam was created first and then Eve. Now listen very carefully. No church today believes this, but it's still the truth. Adam was not the one deceived, and then everybody will say, though the churches say, it's because he knew. No, he did not know. He was not in the transgression. Right here it says, but the woman being deceived, she was in the transgression. What was the transgression? She was in the transgression, he was not. Why? Because he wasn't there. She wasn't there with him 24/7. As soon as he turned his back, just like women today, as soon as Adam turned his back, was doing something on his own, she goes and wanders right toward the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and started listening. And women of older generations understand this phenomenon very well, especially the men, where the women who were, as they say, housewives, while the man was off at work, these door-to-door salesmen selling vacuum cleaners or whatever, any kind of thing you can imagine they were selling. And of course, the woman would be buying stuff that she did not need behind a man's back. Same situation here. As soon as he turned his back, she became the transgressor. She was in the transgression. He was not. She brings him the fruit. He didn't know which tree she gave it. It was her job to bring him food, you see. She snuck in something of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil on him. He was not in the transgression. She was. But because he ate of that tree, he was condemned too. And that is the reason why women must be always under subjection. The man was created first, she was created second. The man was not in the transgression, the woman was. You can't get around it, folks. And so now, is the whole world going to hate me because I'm telling you the truth concerning this? And the new covenant being for Israel? If this channel, or the one on BitChute, if my videos actually took traction, yes, my life would be in danger. Because anything that challenges the government and their version of the role of men and women, if anyone challenges that, they will destroy that man. They'll do it. The world will destroy that man. But it hasn't taken traction. But there will be two witnesses who are going to be given power. They're going to bring plagues upon the earth, and the first one is going to be no rain for 3.5 years. Oh, they're going to get everybody's attention. And if it were allowed, the government would kill them immediately. So we'll read about the two witnesses, and I think I'll be done after that. All right. And there was given unto me a reed like unto a rod. Now this was Jonah in his vision. The temple was still standing while he had his vision. And the messenger said and saying, Rise and measure the temple of Jehovah and the altar, and them that worship therein. But the court which is outside the temple, banish. Throw it out, and measure it not, because it is given to the Gentiles. And they will tread down the holy city, the Gentiles will, for 42 months. And they did. They did, beginning with the middle of 70, let's see, I think it started in July of 70 CE. And I will give power, this is his counter move, which would be thousands of years later, to my two witnesses. And they will prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. These are the two olive trees and the two lampstands standing before the Elohim of the earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceeds out of their mouth. They will call fire down from the sky, like Eliah did, and devours their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. They have power to shut the sky, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy. What is the days of the prophecy? 1,203 score days, 3.5 years. They will have the power over water to turn them into blood and to smite the earth with every plague as often as they will. And when they finish their testimony, the beast that ascends out of the abyss, the abyssos is the Mediterranean Sea, if you know your Greek, and shall make war against them and shall overcome them and kill them, but only after their testimony is finished. Believe me, when the first plague came and people started paying attention, if the government would have had the opportunity to kill them, they would have done so. So, no, I'm not in any danger because my videos haven't taken hold. But these very truths that I'm telling you, repeating from the scripture, verbatim, they will take hold, but not in the way that is going to be comfortable. Because people will know who it is that brought these plagues, and they will know not only the messengers, but the message. See, the world did not want to hear the message the easy way. And you can look at how many views that I get, and it's for every other YouTube channel or BitChute channel, it would be embarrassing. But I knew from the beginning that very few people would be listening to my videos. I knew this. Why did I do it? I did not get it for attention. I did not do these videos for attention. You see, from the time that I was young, if something happened, I was in the middle of it. My dad used to say that. Whatever happened, whether it catastrophe or whatever, I was right in the middle of it. And as I grew up, certain people, we'll just say certain people, had decided that I was a problem for them. Or they tried to make me the cause of their problems. So my answer back to them is this: these YouTube videos. Because when all stand up on Judgment Day, everyone who knows me, everyone who has seen these videos on my YouTube channel and BitChute channel, you will not be able to say, well, Henry knew and he didn't tell me. You see, because it was always my fault to some people who knew me. Well, this time, it's your fault. You see, you can accuse me of anything that you want, but there's one thing you'll never be able to accuse me of, and that is knowing the truth and keeping it to myself. That is the reason. Knowing the truth about the new covenant for Israel, about the name of Jehovah, is not the name God, and how the name Jesus has nothing to do with Israel's Messiah, but the name Yehoshua is everything. because that name contains the name of the Father, Jehovah. And Jehovah and God are not the same. And Jesus and Yehoshua are not the same. I have spent the last 7 years posting over 700 videos on the largest social media platform on earth. There are no excuses, folks. If you wanted to know the truth, you'd find it because it's there. So don't blame me, it's not my fault. You only have the man in the mirror to blame if you do not know the truth concerning salvation for Israel, the new covenant for Israel, when the time of the Gentiles comes to the end, and the real name of the Messiah and the real name of the Father. I made it very, very clear. If King James Version covered it up, I stripped that off. I made it so it was clear to understand. But the world is only concerned with making lots and lots and lots of money. Money, 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 money. And is not ready for what's about to happen. But that's on every individual. Even folks in Africa and China have access in to one degree or another this information. There are no excuses, folks. You can sit there and whine and cry about the ordained authority succession between a man, woman, and children. I don't care if you don't like it. That's not my problem. You see, I don't have my hand out. I don't post my PayPal information, Venmo, Cash App, or whatever type of money changing that goes on these YouTube channels. I don't participate in that. It's not about money. It is about the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So it is incumbent upon you to find the truth and know your role.